All right, so we've left Terrance and Mia ascending back up to the exchange, the transport ship, and we're just going to do a little section with you two, and then Cuppy, we're going to make a new character for you because I think your character was toast, as in, or literally, I think, toast at the end of the last mystery.
Correct.
So Mia and Terrance go back up to the transparency. And you'll go through sort of a series of tests and, adjustments which Extractor will put you through. So a bit of kind of, therapy, both physical and mental, just to kind of, get you ready for your next assignment. So the first thing is reset your change score to 1. Because otherwise, yeah, absolutely.
That's going to be a short game for me, honey. Okay.
Yeah, I know, because otherwise it would be a nightmare. But we're going to introduce a new score, which is called Burnout. And Burnout is going to be a sort of campaign level thing. So that will start at 1, and we'll roll that up, similar to the way you roll up Changed. And, if that gets too high, then you'll be out permanently. So 2 questions. And basically, if you answer yes to either of these, I'm going to get you to make a Burnout roll. So the first thing, Terrance and Mia, do you need surgery after your last assignment? Now, bear in mind that Extractor's surgery is quite advanced. So if you've got injuries that need putting right, or burns or so on, like a skin graft, they can do that. But also if you need some sort of mental surgery, like, if there's something like really messing with your head or something that you need out of your head, they can do that too. So whatever kind of surgery you like, but do you need surgery?
Wasn't one of Mia's fingers bifurcating?
Yeah, it was. The question is, did that stop when we terminated the other adjacent realities, when we burned down the crops? Did that stop that process from happening?
I think it still hurts. I think you should get that put right.
Did Mir get burned hugging Dylan as well? I'm not sure.
I'd be great with wearing some burn scars from that hug. Sure. Is there anything else you guys would like to throw on me really fast over here?
Maybe a full frontal lobotomy.
Didn't she bump her knee?
Right. She had a twisted ankle too that needed to be removed. Yeah. So so we probably have some scar tissue that she wants treated but not removed.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't want to erase Dylan like that. From a psychological standpoint, she definitely doesn't want anything extracted because she doesn't want to not remember Dylan as well. But yeah, the whole splitting thing, if that's still a thing, that would be great to go ahead and get that addressed.
Fantastic. All right, so roll. Give me a burnout roll, which means your burnout is 1 at the moment, and roll a d6. And if you get higher than 1, it will tick up.
Hey, Mira rolled a 1.
Hey.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Grief is carrying her through, honey.
And what about Terrance? Does Terrance need surgery at all?
No, Terrance is oddly fine. Considering everything we as a group went through on that planet, he ended up with a change score of 3. He shrugged off most of the psychological weirdness that was thrown at him through some lucky dice rolls, or unlucky, depending on how you look at it, and took no physical damage whatsoever.
Excellent. When you said fine, I did fine in quotes.
Yeah,
I'm just explaining because apparently this is a podcast, so me going fine in quotes to the camera is not, apparently that's not a good thing. So, cool. Okay. And so the other question, and again, if the answer is yes, then you'll make a burnout roll, is do you distrust Extractor? Because if you do, they can fix that too. They've got all kinds of like little things they can kind of put right and just adjust your attitude. So, do you distract Extractor?
I think we established last time that Terrance was oddly okay with what they were doing.
That's okay with me.
He's going to be CEO by the end of the campaign.
Absolutely. Mira absolutely distrusts Extractor. I don't know if she could actually articulate that out loud, though, because her distrust is so high.
Oh, that's fine. Because they will detect that. So and they won't let you go back in the field with with like burning extracts of hate. So so give me another burnout roll.
That was such an uncomfortable question, by the way, Graham.
I'm sorry, right?
It's so good. I hate it. It's a 2. She rolled a 2 on this one.
Cool. So that's good. And so Mia will go through like a bit of therapy, and you remember that those sort of voices that speak to you before you go to bed. They will kind of calm you down, and so you will go into I don't know. It's like when you've had a bad week at work, and you have a bit of leave, and you come back fresh, right? So it's you won't forget anything, but you will just come back with a bit of a better attitude for the start of the next scenario.
Okay.
Cool. Amazing. And can we just have a quick scene between Terrance and Mia, just because it's nice to have like little scenes on the spacecraft. So where would you guys bump into each other on the Transparency? On the Exchange, this massive ship?
I'd say probably in the refectory.
Cool. What's Terrance doing in the refectory?
Sitting there just with a cup of green tea, sitting there quietly, thinking, perhaps making a few notes in a notebook. I mean, he's the kind of person who still actually has a paper notebook and writes in it with a pen.
Cool. And Mia, let's have you happening across Terrance, and let's just have a really, really quick scene just to sort of play out something very quick between you.
Yeah, just a reverse question. With the surgeries and the therapy, what's the time elapsed there? A month, a week, a handful of days?
A month or so, so yeah, a couple of weeks of therapy, a couple of weeks of leave before your next assignment.
Okay, so part retroactively narrating this and also kind of into the current day. Dr. Drummond has not had Mia's company for the past month. And she actually is going to, because she feels better, right? After a handful of surgeries, she's a little bit more refreshed and a bit more stable. She remembers, but she's not as deeply wounded. So she will actually bring her tray and just sit down in front of him. But she still is going to address him as Dr. Drummond.
Ah, hello, Mia. Is that a new finger?
It's actually 3, if you can believe it. They did a good job, right?
Oh, wow, yes. Yeah, you can barely see the joint. I'm impressed. Who did the surgery?
That was a Dr. Whitaker. Are you familiar with her?
Yes, yeah, I've heard of her work. Yeah, she's competent.
I would agree. I haven't asked, have I? Sorry. How has your recovery been?
I didn't need any recovery. Apart from the disappointment that I felt over the choices that you and Dylan made, I thought that it was otherwise an interesting and exciting assignment that unfortunately was just thwarted through, well, as I said, some poor decision making.
I think she's just going to get really quiet and regret sitting down.
And I'm really happy to end it there. That would be absolutely lovely. So,
yeah, so just with Terrance going back to writing in his book and completely oblivious to the fact that Mia is blanking him.
Yep. They're back.
Yay.
Yay.
What a cute relationship that is. So, Cupp, we should make you a new character.
Yes.
Did you have an idea about occupations?
Yes. Nobody liked those, though. So I have settled on I think I'm going to be Marius, a systems engineer.
Systems engineer. Okay, that sounds good with me. And we can interpret systems engineer very, very widely. So, yeah.
Marius might say genius systems engineer.
Mm-hmm. No, that's good. And I think the way we'll do it is that Marius will have grown up with Terrance and Mia on Carly. So you come from the planet Carly, this sort of forested planet. And so I just want to flash back like we did with those characters. We're going to play it as though, you've been around for a while. We just haven't sort of mentioned you. And let's have you after school. And so we'll have you sort of leaving lessons. And give me a quick description of Marius as a child. What's he looking like?
Okay. Marius is a precocious child. Maybe all of the scientists are as well, but he wears these mismatched, brightly colored clothes, and he is eccentric in the way that he dresses, but he's a pretty reserved kid at the same time. He has this hobby of making homemade pins to represent different social causes that are important to him, especially environmentalism, since they're on Carly and a lot is happening around them. So he's got little pins of trees and flowers he likes and things like that he puts on his backpack and on his shirt. He's creative, but he doesn't, adults might call him lazy. He doesn't like to do things, but he likes to think about things.
That's really lovely. And let's have you giving one of those pins away, if that's okay. So would you like to give a pin to Mia or Terrance?
Oh, I'm going to give Terrance a pin, not because I think he'll like it, but because I think he needs it.
Amazing. So you two will just sort of bump into each other, kind of walking home, and let's start with, here's something I want you to have.
Hey, Terrance, here's something I want you to have. And I'm going to hold out this pin, and it's kind of this shimmering pin. It's catching a little bit of sunlight. I made this. It represents shimmerite.
Oh, what is it made of? Shimmerite?
Well, no, but it looks like shimmerite. I mean, look at the shape. I mean, I know you can form shimmerite into whatever shape you want, but this is like a shape you might see. Anyway, it's cool, right? It actually shimmers, and he holds it up into the light.
So why didn't you use shimmerite?
Oh, shimmerite's really hard to get. It's expensive.
Yeah, well, I suppose this is almost as good. Thank you. It's the thought that counts, anyway. I must admit, I've always admired that range of colours that you wear, all those little badges. Do you ever find any of the local fauna try to pollinate them?
No, I mean, like you said, they're not that realistic, I guess, Terrance.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
But thank you, says Terrance, tucking it in his pocket, out of sight.
Do you think Mira would like the same thing, or should I make her something different?
Something different.
Okay.
That's lovely. Let's leave it on something different. I think that's absolutely lovely. And let's cut forward now. So you all grow up on Carly, on this beautiful forested planet, through school together, and then you will go to the Extractor Recruitment Center. And I just want to see Marius and Mia just on the way to the Extractor Recruitment Center. So on the way into one of Carly's, smallish cities, I think. And let's have one of you say, let's have Marius saying to Mia, how do you stay so calm?
How do you stay so calm, Mir?
You should have seen me about 32 days ago. You wouldn't have actually thought that of me. They have tools here. Let me say that again, because Bridgett really hates this company. Mir currently is not in love with the company, but is okay with them. So let me rephrase that. Let me get original Mir out of the way. They have tools, they have treatments, they have things that can help with that. I could put you in touch with a couple of the doctors. They have some infusion that will really just take the top edge off of it if you're feeling overwhelmed or nervous.
What the hell, Mir? Treatments? We haven't even started, and you're trying to drug me up?
No, I'm not trying to drug you up, Marius, but you're obviously upset, and they could help dial that back a bit.
Yeah, it's just that everyone else here is like a renowned scientist already, and I just, futz around with systems and computers and...
Hey, stop that. You got the assignment, right? You're here, right? It's pretty intense, and you made it. You're going to be fine.
I know it's intense, but I've been studying, and I'm worried that they're going to know I've been studying, and they're going to know I'm an imposter, because why would I need to study if I if I already knew about the machines and everything.
She's
I don't
going to
know.
throw up a hand and snap her fingers super loud, like just a couple inches away from his nose. Just kind of snap him.
Okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
stop. You're okay. All right?
I know, but Terrance said I'm not smart enough to work for Extractor.
Yeah, well, Dr. Drummond feels that way about everyone that's not himself, all right? Try not to take any stock in what Dr. Drummond says.
How is he already a doctor? It's like fucking
You know
18.
what? They're obviously not doing morality screenings because, come on, let's get you and I both could use something right now just to take the edge off. Come on. She's
Should we
gonna
wait
turn them by the shoulders.
Should we wait for Dylan or?
And actually, let's just leave it at that point. That's a beautiful
Okay.
moment to
That
end
was
it.
cold, Cupp.
Yeah.
That was cold. That was cold. Bridget, actually, her heart jumped a beat. That was cold. Bastard.
So that's really, really beautiful. Yeah, cool. And so you will both get the job, and so you get on board the exchange, and you sort of jet off to the far regions of the galaxy. And Cupp, you weren't. So Marius, you weren't on the first mission, the one with the sort of weird time bodies. But so you'll be starting your first mission now.
Okay.
And so finally, it's just the night before your first mission, and you'll go to sleep, and every night you get these things whispered into your ear, these sort of assessment questions, and I can feel Scott. I think I just heard Scott laugh kind of slightly derisively. It was great. And so, yeah. Let's start with Marius. So the question that Marius gets is, "What's your most painful memory?"
I think it's when I was 11 years old and Mom died. We never really had a proper conversation before that happened. Yeah.
Thank you, Marius. And then Mia, the question that Mia gets is, "What's your strongest memory of your home planet?"
I think tonight it'll be the afternoon Dylan invited me to play headball.
Head stick. Sorry.
It would be her to mess that up though, so I'm gonna let it would be her to mess up the whole game altogether.
Oh, God.
That works for her.
Thank you, Mia. And Terrance, the question you get is, "Which of your memories would you forget if you could?"
I would happily forget the entire 6 months after graduation when I searched for employment that was worthy of me on Carney. When I was either offered jobs that a shaved monkey could do, or was turned down for ones that I was clearly overqualified for. And the whole process was humiliating.
Thank you, Terrance. And so I just want to sort of leave you with this image that you're in the living quarters on the living level. I just want you to leave you with this image of, zooming out and this control level above you where you never go. It's all computers, and the maintenance level and some sort of storage level below. And throughout that, there's these, there is these maintenance droids, sort of liquid metal things that kind of roam about the ship, just kind of busying themselves and fixing things. They're known as antibodies, and they have the faces and hands of the engineers that made them. So in a sort of slightly failed attempt to make them less creepy. They have sort of human faces and hands. And so they just busy themselves going throughout the ship. So I'd just like you to imagine sort of zooming out from the exchange where you three are being asked these weird questions and these creatures zooming throughout the ship. And now you're floating towards the transparency, which this massive hulk of a ship hanging in space looks like the exchange, but like an older exchange. It's an extractor transport ship. It looks, as you get closer, it looks like blackened and slightly crushed. And there's a voice in your ear which says, "Associates, this is the exchange. You're approaching the extractor transport ship Transparency. Medical officer, please acknowledge."
Medical here.
"Thank you, Dr. Drummond. Botanist, please acknowledge."
Hard pause, as she's probably distracted by something. "I'm sorry, yes, here, present."
"And systems engineer, please acknowledge."
Systems engineer Bishop here.
"Thank you, associates. Associates, you will search this abandoned ship and salvage everything valuable, including the computer core. You have all the necessary scanners and equipment you need. Good luck. We'll be back for you in 1 month." And behind you, the exchange veers off course, just very, very slowly, gets farther and farther, and you are left floating. You have communicators so you can talk, but you're left floating towards this giant ship.
Terrance, do you read me?
Yes.
Did they say 1 month?
It is a large ship. There's 3 of us. I'm not entirely sure why they thought it was a good idea to send a doctor and a botanist on this expedition, but, well, I think
Better
we
for
should
you to
still
say
look
it.
I think we should still look at this as an opportunity to shine.
Yeah. Mir? Did they say anything about plant life on the ship or anything? Or is there any life at all?
Quick question to Graham. Did we get any debriefing other than just getting dropped off and it's like, "Hey kids, we'll be back in a month"?
No, that was your debriefing. Debriefing just happened. Well, your briefing just happened.
Briefing just happened, yeah. Marius, I don't know. I think we'll find out when we get inside, huh?
Okay. Yeah. I brought, if it's okay with Graham, I brought Astro, the little drone, so we can just send it around and kind of sniff out for anything valuable. It sounds like it's mostly the computer core, though. Should be, gosh, like 2 days to get that all packaged up.
Well, we have a month here. Let's do a thorough job, and I'm sure there's going to be other interesting items on board, apart from just the computer core. We should check every part of the ship. We'll have the time to do so, and I think I will have to defer, I believe, to you, Mr. Bishop, for what is going to be of interest engineering-wise. But I think if there's anything else that looks like it may pertain to previous missions or artifacts that have been recovered from other worlds, that probably falls within our remit as well.
Yes, that sounds fine. Why don't you be in charge of thoroughness then, and I'll tell you what's important. Yeah. That sounds good. Maybe I'll set up a little workstation and you can bring me things and I'll appraise them.
And you're having this conversation, like floating closer and closer, and now it's just like this vast wall in front of you, and it's a ship. And I don't know how you're going to get in. You're in front of a big ship.
Ooh.
Marius, this is kind of your lane, right?
Well, everything's interconnected, so yeah, I think I can tackle just about any system. Do I see anything unusual on the facade here?
Sure. I mean, give me a roll. So this is 1 die if it's something an employee could do. It is. It's 1 die for your specialism, which is systems engineer. Plus, if you wanted to add your changed roll, you're allowed to.
Okay, I won't add it yet. I went up so fast last time.
No.
Yeah, you did.
But so I'm going to make the roll. I guess it was too in-game for me to ask if I see anything unusual. I think I would be looking for entrances and obvious things as well.
Yeah. You're trying to find a way in. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
I did not do well.
I don't want to backseat engineer here, but I think an airlock could be good.
Yeah. Could I re-roll, Graham?
What did you just get, Cupp?
A 1 and a 3.
So a 3 will let you find an airlock if that's what you want, because you never fail unless I roll against you. But if you want to re-roll, you're welcome.
Okay, I think I want to know a little bit more. Like, do I see anything, any signs of like corrosion on the ship, anything on the exterior here?
Yeah. Well, so for the moment, let's leave it as well. You'd think that's probably an airlock down there, but you'd like to know a bit more. And please do a re-roll if you like.
Okay, to re-roll, do I add change die? How does that work?
You add the change die and you re-roll everything.
Okay. Okay, 5, 2, 2. So 5 on my ordinary die.
Sure. So you can find an airlock which you'll recognise as the airlock to the cargo bay, and you also realise how you can get that open. There's an emergency switch which you can activate from the outside. It will open just enough to let a human in because they don't really want people to die outside. But as well as that, you realise that this ship has been crushed as though there was sort of some, I don't know, gravitational event or something. There are extracts of files. We're going to assume you're sort of all linked to a database of extractor files, so it kind of it consults them automatically. There are extracts of files of ships that have been too close to the glitch. You remember the glitch, this large space anomaly in place, and which come back crushed. This ship looks crushed. It also looks as though it's been burnt.
Yeah. This is interesting. It looks like the ship. I'm kind of cross-referencing some things. I think you may have seen this in the last mission. It was crushed by gravity from the glitch. Did you learn anything useful about the glitch in your last mission? I wish we had a physicist here. Yeah.
I'm just a humble medic, but from
is that the word you're going to use, Scott? Humble? That's how you feel? Okay.
But from
Tell a lie Thursday, I guess.
But from my limited understanding of such things, gravity doesn't really work like that, does it? If this has been crushed, if it went into a strong gravitational field near the glitch, wouldn't that be more likely to pull it apart?
I think you're right. Yeah, it's like it was caught between two forces here.
Or unless whatever exerted the gravitational pull was within the ship.
Oh, yeah. Huh. Well, I guess when we find the core, yeah.
That wouldn't explain the exterior burning, though, right?
No.
Oh, you saw that too. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we can find some answers on board. Maybe there's a ship log or something.
We have a month. We can get the history or the story of the ship as we're on-site scavengers.
Shit, with a month, we can probably recreate the event.
Marius, at that point,
There's the thought.
Yeah, let's go to the airlock. Oh, sorry.
But, so we'll have you at this point. You have opened the airlock, and so there is a large dark crack leading into the cargo hold. You will have flashlights, so I'm imagining this is illuminated in flashlights.
Yeah, let's go fast. I don't know how long this will stay open. This ship's in disrepair, so don't take any chances.
And you go through. There you are. Your flashlights aren't going too far into the dark, but what you can see in this, these sort of distant beams of your flashlights is it's a cargo bay. There are walkways and staircases. There are there are sort of rectangular things. They're probably cargo containers, which seem to be free floating in the cargo bay.
Well, perhaps job number 1 should be re-establishing artificial gravity within the ship.
Yeah, that's not going to be in the cargo bay though. Is it okay, Graham? Is it cheating? Can I send Astro, the little drone that I brought, ahead to look for?
Sure.
Yeah, let's send Astro out and look for the systems. We can kind of reactivate everything.
That sounds good with me. I mean, you know, Astro is going to turn up just burnt and at some point.
Oh yeah,
I'm allowed to mess with Astro.
Yes. Astro, I'm imagining Astro has a camera and sensors and just sends data back to our comms as it finds things.
Yeah. Oh, well, give me a role to send Astro out. I'm
okay.
Yeah.
I can use occupation for this too, right?
Sure.
Okay, a 4 and a 5 on occupation.
Oh.
Yeah, cool. So you can see the feed from Astro, and it's finding its way towards a control booth. There is a control booth where, if you wanted to, you can switch on the localized gravity in the cargo hold. You can switch on the lights as well if you want. And then suddenly, Astro, your entire screen is filled up with a face of a corpse.
Oof.
Let's remind you about change rolls. Your change is now 1 anytime that.
I think, Marius was kind of watching the feed with a lot of excitement. This is what he likes, right? Like sending this thing into hard to find places. So yeah, the face right there, that's like the first time I saw Jaws, that moment. So it's definitely a change
exactly
roll.
what I was thinking of.
Yeah, Terrance, what are you up to?
Oh, I rolled a 6.
And that's okay. So, yes,
It just goes. It just ticks up 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
6s are very bad on other rolls.
Yeah.
I think Terrance is using the comms in his suit just to see if there are any broadcasts or anything that is coming from within the ship that would indicate live systems or even survivors.
That's really nice. Okay, give me a roll.
Okay, this is just going to be a single die because it is not within Terrance's profession expertise. But I still rolled a 6.
Nice.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Lovely.
Oh boy. And so it begins.
So there are very few survivors. This was a ship which had thousands of people, and there are probably corpses all over this ship. There are individual people about the ship, and there's obviously been some sort of disaster. And as you're thinking about it, this kind of flashes into your head. So there will be just a flash of crushing and burning just for like 1/10 of a second, and then it stops.
I think even 1/10 of a second is enough to provoke a change roll there. So that's a 5. So Terrance's changed goes up by 1. And
can we? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he just... he's sort of talking half to himself, half to the others as he's going through, talking about the channels that he's checking through, just normal kind of updates to the others, and then just stops and goes very quiet.
Are we allowed to have a scream from Terrance? Can we? He's been quite emotionless so far. I like the...
Yeah. I think less of a scream and more just of a gasp.
Yeah.
Hey, Terrance, I think I know why they wanted to bring a doctor on the mission. Kind of just staring. I don't think he stopped looking at the corpse. Like, he's still looking at that on the feed.
Yes, it does seem that there may be 1 or 2 autopsies to perform here.
Yeah. And probably some survivors as well. We have a lot of questions to ask them, I think.
So near this cargo bay with these free-floating metal containers, which are heavy things. You would not want one of those to crush you against a wall. And what you might previously have thought were dark shapes, but they're corpses. There are corpses, dozens, hundreds of corpses just floating freely in this cargo bay.
Ooh.
And again, to set the scene, there's walkways. You are probably standing. Are you holding onto a walkway or just floating? I don't know.
I think as soon as she gets inside of this cargo bay and Marius already has his nose up his data transmitter and he's collecting information from Astro, and Dr. Drummond is already doing something similar, just in a different direction. She's a botanist, but she's a gardener at heart. She likes to put her hands on things. She likes to straighten things up. She likes things to be a certain way, and she likes to get her hands dirty. So I think while they're doing the techie thing, she would probably slip into that more Molly helpful mode. So she would be floating around and pushing these cargo containers out of the way so that when the artificial gravity kicks back on, it's not landing on one of us. If that's using straps from the wall just to make sure, hey, at least when you drop that whole 100 kilos can go right here. So I think she's going to be playing just temporary Tetris, which is floating around, moving boxes out of the way. Because she doesn't know if Astro can turn it on. If Astro is somewhere on the other side of the ship and suddenly artificial gravity kicks back on. So that would be her first thing, because at least that would give her a sense of feeling useful. I think with the corpses, I don't think she's as alarmed or as startled as she might have been, because this is a derelict ship. She knew this was a possibility. But she is going to be very intentional about at least putting the corpses. Bridgett is, I'll just go ahead and hold on. I'm just rolling now. Rolling my change die now. That's fine. And she goes up by one. Getting the corpses, quote unquote, piled up into the same location as well. So at least when they drop, they're all dropped in a pile somewhere. Okay, so
let's have you pushing these corpses and sort of herding the corpses.
Corpse herder, that
corpse
works.
herding,
Yeah.
And you're pushing. There was one corpse in particular which it has this kind of fleshy bloom on his face. Some of them have these. So you know how a wasp nest is, right? Have you seen a wasp nest? Just imagine one of those, but with flesh coming out of an eye. And so lots of them seem to have these. And this, by the way, is Pine from engineering. His name's Pine.
Pine from engineering.
You just look at him and you go, "That's Pine from engineering."
Did Pine have a family?
Pine. Oh, yeah. I mean, you remember him and his wife, definitely.
Yeah, she was sweet. She's a really terrible cook, though. Why do I remember Pine from engineering on this ship? I'm just going to turn Pine's face down so we can get away from that, whatever's protruding from his face. Just you drop over there in that corner.
Mary, you found Pine? Is he alive?
No, I don't think anyone is.
Oh,
I don't know how many survivors we're going to find. Something terrible happened here. Now, Bishop, before you turn that gravity on, do check to see that it's functioning properly. It just occurred to me that if what happened here was gravitation in nature, then it's not out of the question that the artificial gravity might have malfunctioned, in which case switching it back on without running a full diagnostic could be unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't think we can let Astro do that. I want to take a look at the components, make sure everything's in working order before we do that, but I'm going to have to do that in person, I'm afraid. I have a question, Terrance. I'm not trying to make this unsettling for anyone, but do you think that there might be a risk to other people on the ship? Are we sure this is gravity? It's not something contagious?
At the moment, I have no idea. I know that whatever happened here was sudden and catastrophic, that it was probably gravitation in nature, but that doesn't eliminate the possibility of other threats to life.
Well, let's wear our PPE until we know what's going on. How about that?
Agreed.
Okay.
So, corpses, you're in walkways. There is a control booth. So Astro can have made its way to the control booth now, if you like.
Yeah.
Terrance, by the way, I mean, you can examine corpses. You know, if you want to do that, you're very welcome. I don't mind.
I'm going to hold off for the moment because there's no point in making a superficial examination at this stage. I want to wait until I've got a medical bay set up and I can do a proper autopsy.
Yeah.
All right.
To that end, can I try to get Astro to check and or activate the power without turning on the gravity system?
Yeah, sure. Give me a roll to activate the power.
Okay.
Oh, so if you roll a 6, I know exactly how this is going to go wrong.
Oh, no. Well, I kind of want to re-roll because I rolled a pair of 2s.
Okay, so for 2, we can have it sort of flicking on. Things will spark out, but there'll be a low level of residual kind of light.
Okay,
but you can re-roll if you want.
Yeah, maybe I can put Astro at greater risk. Have it like go into the compartment and try to get better power.
Yeah.
I do have a 6 on my occupation die.
Here we go.
Yay.
So the lights flash on, and we'll have you on a walkway at this point. You've turned the lights on, but not the gravity, right?
Correct.
And suddenly this flashes back to you. I mean, this is where, you're a systems engineer, right? And you have a bit of a fascination with... Marius, you sort of have this fascination with things and machines or something like that?
Oh, absolutely. Like a aspiring tinkerer who doesn't like to get his hands dirty.
This is where he learned it all. So it flashes on, and this is deep in your memory. I mean, you remember spending most of your childhood in this cargo bay.
That's a change die for sure.
Yeah.
He kind of shakes his head like, this isn't Carly. What the fuck just happened? And I rolled a 2, but I'm already at 2. So.
Takes you a moment to think of that name. Carly?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe I'm remembering some of the like forest areas, but
yeah. And eventually the name comes back. Carly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Carly. But I did have my best change roll ever and only rolled a 2, which I'm already at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But it all flashes and suddenly this is very, very familiar.
Hey, Mir, have we been on this ship before? Maybe back in training? Is it familiar?
And she's probably looking at the back of the jumpsuit of Pine right now. I don't know, Marius.
Okay.
I'm looking at the systems engineer. I know his wife. I've never met him before. And I don't think I've ever been on this ship before.
Oh, you don't know Pine?
If you say that doesn't quite sound right.
Oh. How about you, Terrance? Have you been on this ship before?
No, of course not.
Yeah, no worry. I just had like deja vu kind of thing. It's fine.
Deja vu is a very common phenomenon, and there's a perfectly rational neurological explanation for why it happens.
Sorry. I want to make sure I have enough power here. Yeah, sorry, Terrance.
Just need to focus for a moment.
Yes.
Nice.
Mia, are you still... What's Mia doing? I can give you something extra with the corpses if you like, but what are you doing?
She was finished with the corpses, but now that this whole recollection thing is here, I think, can we climb back up the wall and just start turning bodies over again one more time? Maybe it's a fluke. Sure. Maybe he looks like a guy I knew named Pine. It can't be Pine because I've never met Pine. So yeah, she'll just go back, start going through the bodies again.
Yeah. Okay. And they all look familiar. We've kind of done that. I'm not going to give you again. They feel familiar. They feel like people you've grown up with. They've died in 2 different ways. This is what you're going to notice. So some of them have this sort of thing that they have like localized crushing. Like sometimes half their face is crushed. yeah, but bits of their bodies. Now, hand will be crushed, a bit of an arm, and so some of them seem to have died through this localized crushing. Some of them have holes bored through them, so that they will have perfectly round holes as if they were drilled through them.
Where are these concentrated? Like in the chest, arms, leg, forehead, randomly scattered about?
Definitely not random. I mean, definitely. Sometimes through the gut, sometimes sort of through the chest. In one case, directly through the head. But always, very calculated to kill. Basically, very efficient. Feel free to make change rolls. Change rolls are good.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take that opportunity, please and thank you.
I love that Bridget's jumping in like, I'm just going to turn over all these corpses.
She rolled a 4. Her change is now up to a 3.
Ooh.
With that one that has the hole just straight through it, I think she's just going to stop. What is that word choice you just used, Graham? It was an efficient way to kill someone?
Efficient, yeah.
You know who's really into efficient ways to kill other people? Her medical officer. So she is just going to grab that particular corpse by its ankles and float it down to Dr. Drummond.
Ooh.
What have you found, Mia?
Something that I can't particularly explain. And she's going to just turn that body really slowly, almost like she's rolling pizza dough where it's facing Dr. Drummond.
Oh, fascinating. Yes, that does look like very deliberate. I don't want to say execution, but a very deliberate form of death. I would like to make a roll to see whether I can determine what caused it.
Yeah.
If it's okay, I'd rather not make a change roll for Drummond seeing this, just because
medical.
Medical. He performs autopsies. He's used to seeing dead bodies and strange wounds. No, that's something very unusual about it. But
what did you get?
A 3 and a 2. I think I am going to re-roll here.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
That's better. I've got a 5.
Okay, 5. This guy was killed by the antibodies. Do you remember these sort of engineering creatures that kind of go around the ship? Usually they sort of go around fixing things. That they also sort of expel foreign objects. They're very efficient at getting rid of them. They seem to have turned on humans for some reason. There are isolated records of antibodies doing this. I mean, there are very, very occasional times when someone would have to be killed on a ship. For example, if they were in the way and you needed to save a shuttle or something, an antibody would kind of make the efficient decision of that person needs to go.
Of course,
not a decision that's made lightly, but these people have been executed by the antibodies. The antibodies.
Are there any records of antibodies either malfunctioning or having been taken over by a malicious actor of some kind?
No, actually, not taken over by a malicious actor. I mean, no, they're very secure, and they would only be killing people if, in some weird way, it was for the good of the ship or for the good of the remaining people. And at this moment, I mean, antibodies kind of whir and hover around the ship, and I want you to hear that sort of characteristic whining whir, fairly distant, but coming towards the cargo bay.
I'm going to make a changed roll here because I think, well, Terrance is perfectly happy rationalizing all of this. On the other hand, it does feel a bit threatening. But he rolls a 1, so he's okay with it.
Okay. He keeps it together, yeah.
I would assume that Terrance was kind of learning that independently, and then hearing the whine of the antibodies, Marius is just going to say, oh, good, it sounds like the antibodies are still working. They can probably help us kind of suss out everything that's going on.
And actually, as you say that, let's have the cargo door just opening fully. So not the airlock, but the door to the ship's interior. And one of the antibodies will hover through. It has this sort of what you might recognize as a defensive shape. It's this sort of sphere with spikes protruding out of it, and sort of half-formed faces and hands floating over its body surface.
I'm going to see if I can make a connection to it through my through Astro or through my kind of device on my suit.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Let me find a die so I can roll a failure against you.
Oh, wow, out the gate. Here we go.
Oh, yeah. Well, God, I want this to fail. Absolutely. So what do you want to make a connection to it? What?
Yeah, so I want to see if I can either gain control over it or kind of learn its history, read through the logs, analyze what's happened. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, are you sending Astro in? Are you trying to get close to it yourself, or what are you doing?
Well, I think Astro's in the control, so right now I'm trying to physically get closer to it.
Right. Okay, that's good. Get closer to the thing which has obviously killed a load of people. That can't go wrong.
We don't know.
I don't have the full information yet.
Yeah. So, all right. So you'll be walking down walkways and staircases. Yeah. This is a huge space to get closer to this thing. Is that right?
Yeah, I know it's a defensive one, so I'm not like going to touch it. I just want to get close so I can get a clean connection.
Okay, that makes sense. Terrance, Mia, what are you doing?
Terrance is pushing himself back within the cargo bay and observing. He will, I think, just very quietly on a comms channel to the other two, if he can set one up that is unlikely to be monitored by the ship or any. Yeah, an encrypted channel, ideally, a private channel to the other two. And say, I don't want to alarm anyone, but the people here were killed by the antibodies.
Oh, I feel like that comes across right as Marius hits the button to make the connection.
Yep.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And the antibody will stop as though it is trying to detect a signal coming in from around it. Mia, can I just give you a chance? What do you want to do anything before we go to Marius establishing his connection?
This is all happening so quickly, and right now Marius is too far away from her for her to physically do anything about it, but I think she's going to start heading that direction.
Heading towards him. Okay.
Heading towards him as quickly as she can. If that's, propelling herself off of walls, knocking, whatever she can, she's going to start moving that direction as quickly as she can.
That sounds good to me. All right, let's roll to connect to the deathly antibody.
Okay, I will add my change die to this.
Yeah, rolling against you.
Yes. Oh, I rolled a 6 on my change die.
That's such a delightful roll.
Okay. That's interesting. Oh my God! So you've connected to one of these things, haven't you? Okay. So you will connect, and for a moment, you will see almost. You will see a lot of its history. So, and sort of in slight. I'm trying to phrase this. Slightly in the wrong order. So you, like Scott, will experience the screaming and the disaster and the people burning and exploding. You will sort of almost see this, the ship getting closer to the glitch and the this gravitational event. So, the ship being simultaneously crushed and pulled apart, people being similarly crushed and pulled apart, screaming from all around, and then a vision of the antibody drifting around and just systematically killing.
Oh, should I go ahead and roll my change
I would, yeah.
die?
Sounds good.
I rolled a 6, so it just goes up by 1.
It goes up by 1.
Yeah. I'm rolling a lot of 6s.
Yeah, you are.
I do think that, so getting that flash, do I feel like I was part of it, or that I've just made some kind of neurological connection to this thing?
You felt you knew the people on the ship who you were seeing.
Okay. Fuck. I think that Marius, like, this is going to look weird to Mir and Terrance, almost like just quickly and erratically spins out away from this thing, like in a panic.
No, don't make sudden movements. No, don't do that.
Exactly. And so as you do that, it will stop. It will, if it can turn towards you, it will. I mean, and then it will just begin to drift towards you with spikes pulsating. In fact, let's Mir, go on. Mir, Terrance, if you want to do something.
Yeah, I want to try to distract the antibody away from Bishop, because I've got this corpse I've been examining. So I'll try to brace myself against the nearest surface as best I can and push the corpse as hard as I can towards the antibody.
This sounds good to me. Mir, do you want to do anything?
How far am I away from Marius at this point? She was loping, trying to get to him.
Tell me what you want to do, and we'll go from there.
Well, if she's close enough to grab him, she doesn't want to be this close to this machine either, though. There's such oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to roll randomly. Give me just a quick second here. We're going to see how we feel about life today. Apparently, she's going for full altruism right now. So what she's going to do is, what she would like to do is grab onto Marius and just see if she can freeze him and go red light. It's a game they played as kids.
With Dylan, yeah.
In the cargo bay.
Oh, no.
No, we were playing that outside.
Right. Were you?
In highly oxygenated air by the creek, not a cargo bay.
That doesn't seem real.
Oh, Lord.
But yeah, that's good. Well, let's do a three-way roll. So, Terrance, you roll to distract. Mir, you roll to grab. I'm going to roll a failure die, and let's see who gets the highest.
Mir with a 2.
Okay.
I got a 3.
I got a 4. Would you like to re-roll? We can. I think if you re-roll, there's going to be some serious destruction, which we kind of. I think we don't. If we just let that stand, there'll be some serious destruction.
I'm always interested in escalatings. So yes, I'll re-roll with my change die.
Sure. Tell you what, let's actually narrate a bit. That's brilliant. I'm going to narrate the first one, and then we can narrate the reroll. Yeah. So just before the reroll, let's have a moment of the antibody. So what's actually going to happen is that the antibody will shoot out this sort of liquid spike. Mir, you will sort of attempt to grab Marius, but not succeed. And Marius, it's actually going to get the walkway below your feet. And so, we'll have 2 walkway. It's going to hit a vital strut. The walkway is going to list over. You're going to be able to grab just in time. And there'll be sort of this creaking and grinding. Mir, he will be sort of torn away from you at that point, I think. And at that point, it's not really distracted by the corpse. But then you do push the corpse, Terrance, right? And again, you get a moment of this, visualizing this ship heading towards disaster, this sort of flash of screaming and tearing bodies in your head. And the antibody will sort of turn itself really into sort of liquid silver spear and just carve a massive hole in the middle of this corpse. So it's distracted for a moment here. Everyone would like to do something.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is make a change roll, because on that reroll, my change die came up high. And I rolled a 6, so that's nice. By 1. And then I'll shout at the others, "It's distracted, get out of here. Bishop, can you close the doors behind us?"
Yeah, I'm gonna try. I feel like right as as it bores into the corpse, maybe, Graham, I have recognition of that corpse at the same moment that I'm trying to get away.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is your mentor. I mean, this is the person who, when you came down to the cargo bay, you watched him or you watched. Let's go for her. You watched her sort of tinker with ships. Someone you deeply, deeply respected.
Yeah. And
which would surely be a change roll, right?
Oh, yeah. I'll do a change roll on that. Shit. Fuck, I'm going up.
So hot. Oh, God.
I rolled a 5. I'm up to 4 now. Okay. Nice. This might be faster than Dylan. So, I think what I'm going to try to do then is that kind of recognizing that Terrance has done me a favor for the first time in his life, I'll process that and then make my way for the hatch that maybe leads to the maintenance bay. I don't know. Where do we connect here? From the cargo bay to the maintenance area? Maintenance level?
Yeah, there will be you can find a maintenance hatch if you would like to find a maintenance hatch.
Okay, follow me through here. I know this level better than any level of a ship. And then when I say that, I feel like I know this maintenance level. It's like coming naturally. But hurry. Close it out. Try to seal it off. Dialing Astro to try to lock it behind us. Yeah. Let's do it. Follow me. Come on.
Mirror's on a 6.
Amazing. So you will all go through this maintenance hatch, and you're in some maintenance ducts now. And perhaps is it time to destroy Astro? I feel it may be. So perhaps the last thing, but will be that on Astro's view screen you will see this sort of this sort of silver sphere spear shooting towards it, and it will just then just go into static.
Oh fuck! Can I try to manually lock this door?
Sure. Yeah.
Because I was trying to get Astro to do that, but now I'm going to try that.
In my head, that was like his last act. So he locks.
Oh, he did it. Okay.
Yeah. So he locks it, and then but that's the last thing.
Good boy.
Is that all right?
All right. We lost Astro, but I think we're good for now.
I don't think we're good at all. Oh my God! What is going on with the equipment?
It's a rogue antibody. I don't know. Hopefully, the rest of them aren't like that.
I don't think it's a rogue antibody. They don't malfunction like that. I would suspect that it is more likely that a set of circumstances have arisen that has led to them detecting us as anomalous or hostile, as problems to be dealt with.
Oh.
Okay.
I think it would be logical to assume that this is somehow related to whatever caused the catastrophe on board the ship, but that's just a guess. It may be completely unrelated. Can you think of anything that could be related to this gravitation event, people exploding and being torn apart, and the survivors being identified by the ship systems as problematic?
Well, the bodies, there were. I'm not a doctor, but if I had to guess cause of death, you had some that obviously suffered massive gravitational trauma. There were those that had and she can't even articulate what the robot has been doing to God knows how many people on her ship. And then she thinks her ship, and she's like, this isn't my ship. But there's another collection of corpses that have weird growths on them. And then she's going to try to describe that wasp nest protruding from the eye. Maybe if they became infected, the bots were trying to euthanize or to, oh God.
No, but it came after me. I'm not infected.
I know, but what if the protocol is to destroy anything that's living? What if it's a quarantine protocol?
No, they're smarter than that. I think they would know. I don't think they would try to attack us unless we were dangerous. Right?
Marius, with a ship of this size, how many antibodies typically work it?
What is it, like 150? Yeah, it's a lot. We're not going to be able to take them all down. I mean, even if I got to the brain, if it's important enough to them, they're not going to let me override. I don't even think. We can't stay here for a fucking month, though. The food's back in the cargo bay. I mean.
What we need to do, don't panic, that is counterproductive. What we need to do is, first of all, ascertain why they have identified us as being a threat. Whether it is some kind of global command that identifies all humanoid entities on board the ship as being dangerous, in which case we may be able to find some way of proving to the ship's computers that this is no longer the case. Or alternatively, we should prepare ourselves for the very real possibility that whatever it is that causes them to identify us as a risk is something that affected us as soon as we came on board, and they are not in error.
Right.
Oh,
I think at that, your conversation is interrupted, and there's a tapping just above you, and someone says, up here, up here.
Do we recognize the voice?
Not instantly, but...
Okay, yeah. Help us. I immediately kind of... Marius is going toward the voice.
Yeah, you'll recognize that. I mean, so now you think about it, there is a sort of maintenance room in the middle of the maintenance ducts, right? It's like a storage room.
Yeah.
And so you can get there?
Yeah. I know how to do that. There's spare parts. And
Before
stuff,
you open that hatch, Bishop, are the antibodies capable of mimicking human voices?
How about if we just take a pause there?